That is what we do up in the north when it comes to the Volvos. We put a V8 in there and go drifting in the snow. We have some bad news from Volvo. It feels like Volvos just keep coming out with bad news. Every single week there's something new about Volvo that just, I don't know, that doesn't feel good. Now it's that they say that Volvo, moving forward, they're not going to have any wagons in the lineup. Instead, what they're going to do is replace the wagons with SUVs. Now, from a business standpoint, I guess that would make sense, but they also say that I think a Danish Volvo dealer or something like that said that this is a big mistake because what they are seeing when they stop selling wagons is that people are actually moving over to Mercedes, BMW, Audis for wagons because they are still selling pretty well. And Volvo is this definition of a wagon design. It blows my mind. You cannot stop selling or creating wagons.
The new Volvo Turbo, road holding, acceleration, turbo power. Safe,
Turbo.
effortless motoring. Exclusive motoring. With exclusive comfort. Volvo Turbo.
Can't do that in commercials these days. Just jump a 240 like that. CarScoop article linked down below in the description. Volvo doesn't need wagons anymore. Yes, they do. Come on. Of course they need wagons. What are they talking about? It's Volvo. They always need at least two wagons in their lineup. Says SUVs are the future. The CEO Jim Rowan explains that SUVs offer better volume potential, reducing the needs for estate models. The brand will focus on different versions of SUVs and sedans. Thankfully, they are still going to manufacture sedans, I guess. But the thing about the other bad news, the sad news that I talked about in the beginning is, first of all, Volvo is discontinuing the V60 Polestar engineered, which I'm getting this Thursday, by the way, and this to review for a week. And that, I think that is the car that I've been looking forward to the most is going to be this Volvo V60 Polestar engineered. I cannot wait to see what that is like. But that is discontinued here in the States. And they also discontinued the Volvo S60, the sedan. I do believe that they discontinued that here in the United States as well. Just sad to see these beautiful creations go. So according to CEO Jim Rowan here, the future of Volvo doesn't need a wagon in it. That's a huge break from tradition, considering the brand is well known for its estate cars, of course. I'm going to show you the generations going back to the hearse, the 145, up to the V90 of today. So bringing new models to the market is expensive. Yes, it is. It's much more cost effective to drive volume through the same platform and form factor. Volvo's strategy is understandably to tap into the growing popularity of SUVs. I wonder if that popularity is ever going to start to dwindle a little bit. I would like to see it dwindle a little bit and people moving into wagons and sedans, of course, and not just this hyper focus on SUVs. To do so, it'll focus on offering more targeted versions like the black editions and cross-country trims of its existing models. We saw the cross-country EX40, is that what it's called? The first EV cross-country. That is one of the new models we're going to drop. So the commercial director of Volvo UK, not Denmark, I don't know where I got Denmark from, said that the discontinuing of the V60 and V90 in 2023 was a big mistake. When you tell a retail customer that wagons aren't offered, they go off and buy something else. BMW and Audi are both offering desirable wagons at this point. The Mercedes as well. You have the E-Class wagon, the C-Class, looking beautiful, extremely comfortable vehicles. I still think, just look at this design. This is the Audis, BMWs, Mercedes. This still, in my book, takes the prize for best looking design for a wagon. It's just a beautiful looking car. We're making very conscious choices about where we want to play the game, he said. Where we're differentiating is with SUVs. Nice height, nice ride height, very safe, and we think we can protect the beach head against the competition. It's much easier than us becoming distracted by too many models. But that's the thing, though. I don't think wagons in a Volvo lineup should be a distraction. It should be a key component of what Volvo is offering at any single time, you know, any decade. It should always have at least one wagon, because that, to me, is what Volvo is all about. That's what I grew up with. The brand is already planning 5 new models for 2025, including the recently unveiled ES90 and the new all-electric EX60. Should those all prove successful, who knows? Perhaps this isn't the last time we'll see a Volvo estate car, but don't expect the brand to bring out a new one anytime soon. So with that said, let's go back in time here, and let's check out these beauties right here. What a beautiful, stunning, classic lineup of old Volvos going into the new ones. So here up top, we do have the hearse, the 145 from the 70s, might even have been released in the late 60s. I'm not entirely sure, but look at this design. This is what Volvo is to me. Just a box on wheels like this. You have the bumper sticking out like this, and you have the wheels, very small wheels. You can see the wheelbase here and the overhang in the rear end. This entire piece could be a smart car by itself. It's just a very, very cool design. I would probably remove the bumpers myself if I were to buy a car like this and just have it sit flush and not have bumpers at all, and maybe lower it a little bit, put some beefier wheels and tires, slap in a V8 in there, and you have a very, very cool Volvo wagon. And then we have the brick, the 245. This, I think, is what put Volvo on the map when it comes to, I think, cars in general, because this was such a hit when it came out. And I can't remember how long it was in production for, but it was, I think, from like, it was definitely over a decade. Maybe from like beginning of 80s to 94, I do believe they stopped production of the 240, which is a huge, a very long time for any type of vehicle. And you can see the transformation here. Look, the greenhouse looks very similar to what we have in the 145. You got a little bit smoother. It's starting to get this big shoulder line that we still have today for Volvos. And then they just decided to go full static and just bring out the ruler for the 745, which I call the brick 2.0, because this is definitely a brick right here. We lose the shoulder line, and everything is now just one single facade in the side view. There's no, you know, beautiful shoulder line like we had here in the 245, for example, and 240. Instead, the greenhouse got a little bigger. This looks to be the turbo with these wheels as well. Now, if I were to pick one favorite wagon for me, it's going to be this, the 850R 240. 240 horsepower. You could obviously get it in a manual transmission. These 5-spoke R wheels. My neighbor used to have one of these in red when I was a younger child, and I was so jealous of his car. It was a stunning looking machine. It looked exactly like that, but it was just red. This is this yellow, very sort of eggshell yellow, looking very interesting. And we still have the same feeling like we have in the 745 here, meaning that the shoulder line just disappeared. There is no shoulder line whatsoever. It's just one flat surface all around the side view of the car. I do love the 5-spoke wheels. I do believe these are they 17 or 18 inch? I think they are 17-inch wheels. The thing about these cars, they were everything was just smaller, so they looked to be 20s if it was on a modern car. But these cars back in the day, they were not big. Now we go into the V70 here. I did skip the first generation V70 because we can't have a full, you know, all wagons Volvo has ever made. I wanted to put this in because I think this is a huge step forward when it comes to the design identity and the overall design language of Volvo, because now you can see that the shoulder line that, like we had in the Volvo 240 up here, now is back, and this is one of the best looking wagons Volvo has ever made. I love this design. They also made, of course, the R and the S60R as well. Of this era, looking very, very clean. The thing about the V90, I think it's a great looking design. It looks stunning with this nice shoulder line right here. We have a line at the bottom going into the bumper. If you want to study line flow, this is a beautiful example of how you can do that. You can just follow one single line, sketch it out in the direction it's going, and you're going to find a connection to some key component of the design otherwise. But look, what I think they could have done better here is, you see the rear end, the sloping rear end here. This is the first time we have this sporty design for the rear end. Every other Volvo has this, almost vertical rear end. So it would be interesting. Let's see what we can do here. If we can maybe make a quick redesign, upright design like we have in the other models, in the rest of the models. It looks very, very strange right here. Let's go into warp it a little bit. Shoulder line does not connect now, so it looks a little strange. Connect everything a little better than this. Obviously, this looks horrible. Let's just do this. Stretch it out. This is like the quickest redesign I've ever done. So don't judge me on this one. It's going to be not the prettiest, but I just want to get the point across here to show you what this could have looked like if we had like more of a more of a hearse design. You can see the connection of the glass. Everything is not perfect, but if you squint your eyes, you can see exactly what it is I'm trying to visualize here. Let's remove this crap right there and bring back the lines. So very sad news to see what Volvo is doing and not planning on bringing any sort of estate or wagons in the future to the lineup. Instead, just focusing on SUVs. And yes, it makes sense from a business standpoint, but from a heritage standpoint, it does not make sense at all.